serious, the things that you have laid out and the things that were laid out yesterday sound, when you're discussing training 5,000, in y'all's own words, doctors and dentists and others, in Saudi Arabia over a year, I don't know whether they're being trained for offensive or defensive. I'd like for you to clarify that, activities. My understanding is that they will be given higher tech equipment after they prove themselves on the battlefield. Do you understand how unrealistic and how that effort on the ground where they are based, where ISIL is based, doesn't match the rhetoric that the administration has laid out, and therefore you're asking us to approve something that we know the way you've laid it out makes no sense. We have a strong sense that our Army, our military leaders have urged you to put special forces on the ground, but no, we're not going to do that. So this doesn't even seem serious. It seems like a political answer to the United States as they cry out about this uncivilized activity, but it doesn't seem real to me. And if you're willing to get in a classified setting and lay out all these details and tell us which of these countries are going to be flying their flag into Syria, they're going to be putting people on the ground, because we know the Free Syrian Army cannot take on ISIL. You know that. You talk about a multi-year process. We're talking decades if that's going to be our salvation. So I'll just close with this. I'm disappointed. I was disappointed in the briefing we had last week. I do want us to deal with this in an effective way. You've not laid it out in a way that meets that test. I hope when we come back and before you've put people in harm's way unnecessarily, you have a plan that achieves the end that you just laid out. But we know right now that's not where you are. And again, I hope you'll seek it. I hope you'll say that you're not going to do it without it. And I hope you'll lay out a plan that will convince us that you're serious about doing the things you said you're going to do to the American people and to us about ISIL, because you haven't done it now. And I hope you'll lay out a way to pay for it, because we know this is going to take many, many years, and it has to do with the safety of our citizens.
Mr. Chairman, can I hope, answer a little bit here? Senator, you know, I must say to you, I really find it somewhat surprising for you to suggest that as the President of the United States talks to the nation and commits to take strikes in order to deal with ISIL, as we have come back from a week of very serious meetings with nations around the world, all of whom are committed to this, that you sit there and suggest that it's not serious. Now, with all due respect to you, Senator,
okay,
let me just tell you something, point blank. The moderate opposition in Syria has, in fact, been fighting ISIL for the last 2 years. And since last January, the Free Syrian Army has been engaged with ISIL in Idlib, in Aleppo, in the Damascus countryside, in Deir el-Azur, and groups such as the Syria Revolutionary Front have fought off ISIL. They've expelled them from Idlib province, which borders Turkey and includes the border crossing. Over the past 2 months, moderate brigades have been deployed in northern Aleppo to prevent ISIL from capturing key border towns, including Azaz, through which a large quantity of humanitarian assistance is now being sent. But they require our support. Senator McCain knows that. He's been screaming about it for some time.
We've all been screaming about it,
well,
and we've all done nothing, or at least not much to talk about.
Senator, let's just understand that the fact is that what has propelled ISIS to some degree is a word called success. And as ISIS has had success, they've used social media and they've appealed to greater numbers of greater fighters. As they have now suddenly been put on their heels, and as the United States and other countries do seriously commit to this endeavor, and believe me, what we're doing is serious, then if success begins to turn and move towards the Free Syrian Army and the moderate opposition, I believe you'll see greater numbers of recruits. That's why the President is asking for that open training under Title X, in order to try to build that up as fast as possible. Our estimates are there are now currently tens of thousands still of fighting members of the opposition. And if you can get more people better trained, and by the way, every month that I have been Secretary of State, we have been adding to the effort of what we are doing with respect to the Syrian opposition. And most of that needs to be covered in a classified setting, as you know. But our assessment is that we can, and given the urgency of the situation, begin to move this program to a greater degree. So will it take a period of time? We've all said that, yes. But we're confident that we have the ability to be able to change the situation on the ground.